Okay, this how-to video is going to show you how to import and export a DXF file from the Cadence PCB tools. So we've got several options for DXF when we import and export. So what we'll do is we'll do an import first. So I'm just going to do a file new. I'm just going to browse and make a new board. In fact, let's put it into this one. Let's just call it Steve. Okay, so the key part really for importing DXF is to making sure that your XY coordinates, size of piece of paper, origin, etc. Are all set correctly really. So obviously we work on 00, that ties in with the DXF file from AutoCAD or any of the other MCAD tools. So you need to make sure from a 00 point of view you've got enough space to put this in. So if I put on the grids, for example, you'll see obviously this is 00. I need to make sure I've got enough value on the minus part of the 00 just to make sure I can import the stuff if that's the way that the DXF file has been generated. So we can check this by setup design parameters, go to the design tab, we can pick for the size of piece of paper that we want, so specify the piece of paper that we want, and then maybe specify a value here depending on the file that you're trying to bring in. That would then move the origin point and I could then import the DXF. So I'm going to use the import MCAD DXF option. I'm going to browse for the DXF file. So in this example I've got a board outline, a clam outline. DXF units, obviously I want to choose the units that the DXF file was written in and the accuracy. I've got 3 checkboxes here. One for using a default text table. So that basically says if I've got text in my DXF file, it would use the text files from setup design parameters text tab. You can use the text option there. The incremental addition will add the DXF file to the current board file. If you don't enable this, it will actually generate a new board file based on the DXF name. So in this example, I want to add it to my existing steve.board. And then the fill shapes basically, do I want to, if I've got copper shapes in the DXF file, do I want to fill those copper shapes? So I can choose that if I want to. I can then go and edit a view layers, the layer conversion file, and what this basically is looking at, this is the name of the layer in DXF. So the DXF file has a layer called 0, and I'm going to map that to board geometry and outline, but you can pick classes and subclasses as required. I mean, ideally it would become a design outline, but I would normally bring it onto an outline layer first, and then we can compose that onto the DXF layer. Once I'm happy with that, we can click OK. And then I'm going to import the DXF file. So that then brings in my DXF file onto board geometry design outline. These are the individual line segments. There's a 00 location. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use the shape, create shape from lines basically, and I want to make this onto board geometry, and I want to use the design outline because this is the correct class that should be using. I'm just going to window select everything here, and that then effectively makes this design outline, which is a completed object. Let's just change the color so you can see it slightly better. So that then is one solid object, so I can then use that going forward for my PCB. So to export a DXF, let's just go and we'll open the completed board, routed board. The key part for exporting of DXF is visually showing the layers that you want to use. So we'll start off, we'll go to setup and colors. And I would always start off with a blank canvas, so turn everything off first and then go to the geometry folder. So I'm going to turn on my cutout and my design outline. I want my assembly bottom detail, my assembly top detail. That's pretty much it from the geometry. Stack up, I'm going to have the pins for the top and the bottom. And then I want some component text as well. So we'll go to components and then we'll turn on the assembly bottom and the assembly top text. That's pretty much it for my what I want to send to the mechanical engineer. So I'm then going to use the export MCAD DXF. So I need to give this a name, so let's just call this Steve. You've got a choice of which DXF formats you want to send out to. It's entirely up to you. You might need to talk to your mechanical engineer and see what he prefers. What the output units, what's the output accuracy. I've got this layer conversion file, so this is effectively the layer mapping. So we're just going to click on edit this. So by default, effectively, these are the classes and subclasses that are shown on the canvas. So I want to use all of these. And I can either then just use layer names generated automatically and then click on map, and then what this will do, well, select all first, sorry, and then click on map. And what this does is this creates a DXF layer name that will go in the DXF file that the MCAD engineer could effectively see. So it's using an abbreviation, say board geometry, cutout, design outline, etc. You can obviously just use the subclass names only if you want to. Once you've got your DXF layers or your mapping done, click OK, and then the final options here are kind of like as regards, do you want to use symbols as blocks? So what that would do is that I've got obviously a PCB footprint here, so I've got pins and I've got outlines and text and stuff. I could make this a block in AutoCAD if I wanted to. You can do the same for pad stacks. You can export field pads, copper shapes, etc. So you've got the different option if you want to do any of this. I'm just going to export the defaults. That then writes effectively my DXF file, so we'll just close that.